Voxel RPG Minecraft? Sure. I mean, I still don't understand how that works, but... Like I said, I think I'm just an idiot because like I genuinely like cannot wrap my brain around that at all. But that's a me problem. It's okay. I think I will survive not understanding how Pixelmon works. So that's gonna be a clay mine. Maybe we can actually start doing some clay and pottery. Because I've just been importing pots as long as I've been here. But that'll be another good way to employ a lot of dwarves, most likely. Because dwarves like mining. And general happiness is improving. By that I mean the elves are slightly happier than they were previously. Maybe it's because all the baby capacity. More humans want to live here. Dwarves want to live here. More orcs want to live here. More lizards want to live here. Like in the military. Hey! That human squad filled up quick. Double them up. Make another human squad. Damn, look how fast that's filling. I mean, I don't think Pal World will. I mean, does it matter? I mean, I have a feeling like maybe I'm giving Pokemon fans too much credit, but I'm a firm believer that games can just like coexist without needing to be compared to one another. It's like it's like this game can coexist alongside of the existence of Dwarf Fortress, and have like no issue, right? Because like they're different enough. I have a feeling Pal World will also be different enough that it can just coexist without needing to be compared. It's a little bit silly that everything needs to be compared to everything. But turns out people like comparisons, so. I just think it's really silly how much people like insist on comparing things. Stuff can just coexist. It's Pokemon with guns and slavery? Because, like, when you say that, to me that just reads as, oh, so it's Pokemon, but completely insufferable. Like, that's what that means to me. It's like, oh, it's this, but awful. Cool. To the point where, like, I kind of would feel like my life would be improved by not thinking about that game. But, you know, what can you do? Like, you know, I'm one of those weirdos who likes to make people very uncomfortable by reminding them that, like, yo, colonialism is bad. And even games like this are completely romanticizing and fantasizing about a bad thing. Like, city builders like this are all just like, hey, yeah, let's move in and just destroy everything. Crafting games are just like, hey, natural resources, that's for me to take and destroy everything. And of course, you know, it's fantasy. It's just like first-person shooters are about running around and shooting people, which is a bad thing that we shouldn't do. But there are certain fantasies that are just like, yeah, I don't want to partake in that. It's like games that are just like, yeah, it's like fucking let's just fantasize about slavery. It's like, yeah, it's not something I will ever be even remotely interested in partaking in. Regardless of how well made a game could arguably be, it's like, I've interest in taking part in that mechanic. A large reason why, like, RimWorld stopped being a game that I could enjoy, because it just, after a while, turned into, oh yeah, it's the game about fucking making people into a couch. It's like, that's not something to take part in. Yeah, but Dungeon Keeper is a slapstick comedy. It's also like, it depends on how it's presented, right? Yeah, I understand that too, Taigo. I mean, like, some of my friends are getting into Tarkov right now, right? Or have been getting into Tarkov, and it's like, Tarkov's one of those games. It's like, I don't think I could ever actually play Tarkov, because it's like, I own Tarkov, I purchased it a number of years ago, and I put like 30-ish hours into trying to learn it, and I bumped up against like a disability ceiling that I have, which is a me problem, not necessarily an issue with the game, but like, I am at a physical disadvantage to a lot of other people in that game. And then combine that with just like, oh, this is like too accurate. This is like too close to reality. And for me, I need it to be a little bit more absurdist. It's like, if I'm gonna play a shooter, it needs to feel more like Stalker in that instance, where it's like, it's post-apocalypse, but it's like, it's silly to a degree. Like, there's lightning bolts jumping out of the ground and weird like steam monsters. That is interesting to me. I like the silliness of it. I need the absurdity. If it doesn't have the absurdity, then, well, it stops being as fun for me. I forgot that this game has decorative trees, and I just remembered that this game has decorative trees. Maybe that's what we need to be placing. Our large decorative trees. It's funny that it takes wood to make decorative trees. It's like, are you just making statues that look like trees? It doesn't matter whether or not they're aliens, caterpillars, and talking animals, or people. Slavery is slavery, right? Speaking of being scared shitless, you doing okay over there, Taigo? It's really hard to like look at anything coming out of that part of the world over here in Canada without it looking like propaganda. It's very difficult to like discern what is propaganda related to what's going on in Ukraine and what is accurate. It's quite freaky, actually. It's one of the first times like I've seen a conflict going on in the world where I legit have a hard time figuring out what is accurate information. Bring in more humans. Clearly got some sort of bottleneck here, which is okay, but seeing if any of those trees just started getting built. I'm curious what they end up looking like. I don't think I've ever built the large decorative trees, so. It's actually, let's just cancel this. I don't really need the clay pit. I do, however, actually need the decorative trees. There they are. Oh, they legit just look like trees. Neat. It's weird that they require wood to be built, though. How are the raids in this game as game-ending as RimWorld sometimes? It's very different than RimWorld. I wouldn't even like say that this game and RimWorld in the same breath. They're like the combat in this game it's more like Total War for one thing. And you're a city that gets migrants, so you can bounce back relatively easily from fights, but also it's difficult to say because the combat is probably the least finished part of this game right now. Considering you can completely avoid all combat in this game with just paying people. It's much more of a game about building a city currently, so it's not the focus of the game currently. But mechanically, it feels pretty fucking good. I'll say that. You don't even really know today was the first day that you felt that shit got real and it might not just be dick swinging anymore? Why today? What happened today that made that feel that way? Like right now, Canada is kind of annoying as fuck country to be. Because our, like, what the bullshit that's going on in Canada isn't like, you know, life-altering or bad in particular. It's just really, 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 really annoying. It's kind of like where Canada is right now, and it's like, it stresses me the fuck out, and I don't like it, but when I look at, like, you know, what's going on in the Ukraine, it's like, and I do not envy that. Like, at the very least, I'm not staring down the barrel of an invasion. It's more of like a dick-swinging contest of human stupidity. That's just kind of the way Canada's been for the last little bit. Diplomats evacuating are a bit of an alarming thing. Didn't that happen a little while ago? Especially the Russian ones, true. Played the demo and it seemed nice, but also a bit aimless without threat. You can crank up the threat levels. Also, once you don't have threats, you go make threats by attacking people, and then you'll get threats. But you have to attack people in order for there to be threats. I just enjoy it as a super chill town builder. Also, if you played the demo, was combat even turned on in that demo? I can't remember if that was before or after combat was really put into the game. Not sure which version that is. But also when you start your city, there is a little slider that you can slide up and down that says how frequent you want to have threats. So if you want to be attacked constantly, slide that slider up. Perhaps you didn't have the slider up high enough. Well, it's not that the challenge vanishes, it's that the challenge changes, right? The early game challenge is food and survival. Then after that, it's balancing the different personalities of the different species that you have in the city and keeping them happy. And then after that, it becomes, well, the city is pretty self-sufficient, so what do I do now? And then at that point, you go and start fighting with other people. Or you just build a massive city, which is what I'm doing. But, I mean, it's up to you. I don't particularly like combat in games. As I was literally just kind of saying, like, I'm leaning more and more and more towards diplomacy when available. I mean, combat is cool, but, like, it is the least interesting mechanic or the least interesting way to interact with a video game for me at this point. Like, I'm totally fine playing games with good combat, but it is the last thing that I'm looking for out of games now. Let's see if that's helping with you guys at all. Well, I mean, they're not getting any more pissed at us. You also need to remember Banished is a finished game, right? This is not. But I'm not here to sell you this game, so. Is impossible? I disagree with that. That it's impossible to make a game with good diplomacy? The worst thing that you feel is that you're, you are as much of a soldier as you are a piece of piss-soaked paper, and you imagine that different scenarios can only conclude that you are forced to fight. You imagine different scenarios that you can only conclude that if you're forced to fight, you'll just collapse like a sack of dirt and cry. You know, I feel like that's the natural human reaction. So for whatever that means, it means that you're human. I mean, Dwarf Fortress is free, so it's a good one to stick to. I'll say that. But as much as I love Dwarf Fortress, even I can't play Dwarf Fortress every day. Need to take a break every so often. Also, I love this overview screen. Like, look, like we can, because I have the trees, so we can see the effectiveness range of all of the trees here. Look at that. That's just too cool. Love this shit. This game has a tutorial. It's just terrible. But it also doesn't really need it. This game's not that difficult. This game just does a very, very, very good job making it absolutely impossible to find specific UI elements until you know to look for them. It's kind of the Dwarf Fortress problem. This game is one person developing it. It's one person and then like a halfway volunteer community manager that gets paid, I think. This is literally just one dude who's making his dream game. Whoopsies. And if you want to hear him talk about his game, there's an interview on my YouTube channel with him. We talk for like 45 minutes about this game, including how it accurately simulates racial segregation, which is a little bit disturbing, but kind of interesting in a fantasy kind of way. It's a fun city building mechanic, I'll put it that way. But you feel like you've been working after playing them. It's not a bad feeling, but it's a tiring one. I don't get it as bad on DF as I do on games like Factorio, but yes, it does happen after a bit. And that's why I need days where I play games like this. Curious to see if those trees are improving things. They don't seem to be. I don't really know. Oh, I just found a new menu. All right. Let's let the elves have jewelry and stop exporting jewelry for a bit. So we're gonna just start making and storing jewelry now instead of selling all of it. Well, actually, no. Let's just stop exporting jewelry for a little bit, and instead of exporting jewelry, let's export some tools. Because I've got this huge thing right here making tools. Got all the tools stored down there, and we got a lot of them. It's so weird how people like games which include violence and other unsightly stuff. Feels like a morbid fascination is something that we are born with. Even if you feel dirty for it, it's only very rare people are not at the least bit entertained by such stuff. I mean, I love violence in games. Violence in games is a really fun verb to, like, interact with. It's just, there are other things that I like more in games. Like, I'd rather play a well-done economic simulation, as an example. Like, if I'm given the option between fighting with my enemy in a video game, learning to work with an enemy in a video game and see them ceasing being an enemy, and then either, like, they become a vassal or vice versa, or we just learn to coexist, I would rather do the latter. Which is why, like, I always lose in Civ, is because I always try and do, like, the espionage, like, buy everybody. And unfortunately, those games are just balanced in a way where it's just like, oh, it's just easier to fucking stab people. it's just easy to murder everybody. And it's like, ah, man, god damn it. It's like, but what if that's not what I want? It's like, well, it kind of is what it is. Good lord, I filled most of this map up. Damn close to all of it, in fact. Kill them and take their stuff? Yeah, that's less fun. Then there's less characters in the world to interact with. I like having interesting characters to interact with. It's like when you kill everybody else in Dwarf Fortress, it's like, well, then there's just zombies left. Any way of expanding your land in this game? What, like getting more maps? This is just the only playable area. Although, if you attack somebody, you see the battle screen and then you jump back. But I don't know. I don't think that's how the game is planned for when it's finished. For when it's finished, there will be more space. You call that the Duke Nukem philosophy? I mean, fortunately, they don't make Duke Nukem games anymore. Duke Nukem was never good. It's a blessing to all of us that we don't have to deal with Duke Nukem anymore. I think I've got more space for these. Well, looks like I can make another human squad, considering we just filled up a, 2 more. Make another elf squad. Okay, another 300 soldiers. Damn, lots of volunteers. Love to see it. You do love games like this? It's just finding the one that clicks. Yeah, and this is one that takes a little bit of effort to enjoy. Kind of have to work towards learning all of the little, like, tricks to make this game work for you. And it's certainly not a perfect game. Like, I'm not trying to pretend that it is or something. But it's an interesting game, and there's enough things about this game that are very interesting that I enjoy it quite considerably. Start importing clothing again. It was the only time we actually had enough clothing for everybody. Still going? Yep, still going. But welcome back, Elamino. I think that I've been thinking about what you said, Tiger, about how people enjoy games with violence in it. It's like, I think I've figured out that I don't enjoy games with hyper-realistic violence. If a game has violence, that's not something I mind at all. But what I've kind of learned that I dislike is when games have very realistic depictions of violence. It's like, I'll play Brigador all day and take a mech through a crowd of civilians and just crush them all and laugh maniacally and not feel bad about it. But the second it's like an accurate depiction of violence, it starts to irk me a little bit. Even if it's like historical violence, I don't mind it so much. It's like, well, this is history, right? It's like Total War is an example. It's like, or any kind of like medieval fantasy. It's like that barely bothers. That doesn't bother me at all. But the second it's like, oh, this is something that happened not long ago, or something that is happening somewhere. That I don't know. That bothers me a little bit, and it's something that like I've been trying to like figure out. It's like, okay, so where do my ethics for games last? Because like I genuinely don't believe that games make people violent, and like some fear mongering would have some people believe, and like some older men in suits believe. Like I certainly don't believe in any of that. I don't think that's a concern really. I don't think that like, you know, desensitizing. I don't believe that video games necessarily desensitize people at all, because like, you know, every now and again I see a video on the internet of like, you know, somebody getting shot or something, and that disturbs the ever living hell out of me, and I can't look at that. Like that's not something that I can interact with and feel okay about. And I think that my games are starting to become that way too, where it's just like, if it's something that's happening in the world right now, that might be a bit much. Brigador is also a banger. Yes, this is true. Brigador is also a banger. You're still trying to get into Imperator Rome? Did they ever make that game good? I was like really excited about that, because that's a time period I really like, and then played it, and that was the most bored I've ever been on a stream, I think. I played it for like 7 or 8 hours straight, and I hated every minute of it. Granted, that was back when it had like overwhelmingly negative reviews right at launch, so. It was one of the last games I got early, actually. Or went out of my way to get early. Now I'm just kind of curious. I'm gonna go look up Imperator Rome. Like, is that game still like, can of dog piss? Mixed to mostly positive. All right, I guess they're getting it there. I guess it's getting there. For you, the line is the emotions. Even if the violence is graphic, you don't mind it that much. If the enemy is a faceless drone, all it takes is for you to feel sick and abandon the game. And seeing the description, you've killed having a cat at home or something like that. An example of violence in video games that's too much for me. I can't even watch streams of The Last of Us. There's just something about like I have no problem with any other Naughty Dog game. Like that kind of like Indiana Jones theme they have for Uncharted is like totally fine. Non-issue. But I can't even watch streams of The Last of Us without feeling kind of upset. Like that, and that's the only way I can describe it. Is I just feel kind of upset watching that game. I make a Metalsmith's Forge back here. And it's because that game, I think, does what you're describing, which is like, it makes the people that you're killing or watching get killed or watching kill each other feel human to a degree, and that hurts. And I'm not a fan of that. Solo Nobre must fall. This is true. But, you know, like, just as an example, in like a mech warrior game, it's like, well, that's fucking ridiculous. Like, mechs are not a logical thing. Like, I'll absolutely like take part in this war story about mechs because, you know, we're never gonna have fucking mechs. Come on, don't be goofy. Outside of like maybe big toys, like they're such an impractical, silly thing that it's just completely illogical. They added a lot of fixing to the broken parts of it. Well, that's good. I'm glad they're making good on it over time, amateur player. That was like, I don't know, Paradox's Rome game is like the most I've ever seen streamers go, but they'll make it good eventually, like kind of like clenching their butt cheeks and just going like, I mean, like Paradox fixes their games over time, right? It's like the most like squinty-eyed I've seen people be at Paradox, but at the same time, like also kind of going, they'll fix it eventually, it's fine. Which is kind of funny, but also kind of sad. Need more odd jobbers, so we'll just turn down the workforce up there. 20 DLCs later, $200 in DLCs later. It's like, it's a good. It's like I'm a firm believer of like, I think that DLC model is fine, but I think you should launch with a competent product and a competent base game that doesn't need any of the DLC. It's like Hunter Call of the Wild is kind of an example I use for that, where it's like, yeah, it's a DLC hungry fucking game, and you have to buy a DLC for that game to be good. But like, for that game to be good, you need one gun pack, the ATV pack, and the tents pack, and on sale those are like $8. So it's like you can get that game for like $5 for the base game on sale, and then like another $8, and you have enough DLC to enjoy that game. Maybe like a map or two, and the maps are like $6, and it's like, okay, fine, that's not an issue. But even the base game with that, the base game of that thing, you can get like 20, 30 hours of it and enjoy it without paying an extra penny. You love CK2 with all the DLC. The fact that CK2 is a free game now is, I think, is something that I think should get talked about more. I mean, there's no dancing around the fact that those games are very good, and like the DLC is worth your money, but it is a big ask for people that don't have as much in the way of finances. It is a massive ask for some people, and not everybody is capable of putting forward that kind of cash. All right, well, we've managed to get our population numbers up, which is good. Build a big fucking housing block. I was gonna make this into something else, but this is just going to be a huge housing block. If the game and the DLCs are reasonably priced, being able to granularly buy stuff you need without buying stuff you don't need is a fine idea. You haven't seen anyone pull it off properly yet, though? I mean, I would say Train Simulator pulls it off properly. Properly? Wow, I can't speak. Properly. I mean, I'm not into Train Simulator at all, so I don't play them, but like, that is, they do a pretty good job with that model. Purely in the sense of, like, you can just piecemeal buy what you want. You don't need to worry about buying it all initially, because there's a lot of it. A lot of it. And if it's a game that you like, and a style of game that you like, and a style of game that you can play, that you want to play, then there is a huge amount of content for that. I think it's a business model that's damn close to impossible to do perfectly. I would also say that the Endless games, like Endless Legend, they did a real good job with their DLC on that. Same with Civ. Civ does a good job of it. Although sometimes the Civ games launch in a way that makes it feel like they're not doing as good of a job of it, but after, their balance patches, I think they do quite a good job in that front. Hoping CK3 fills out the events with free updates. Yeah, I'm not a Crusader Kings person, so I don't know what that game's missing. But I hope that the communities of those games are happy with them after several years of development. This is going to be a lot of housing. All right, let's do like that and that. Filling in the knickknacks. Places for people to eat and whatnot, tables and such. Places for people to store their stuff. Only 30% efficiency, oh my word. That's a bit better. We'll be able to make this work. It's just going to take some clever positioning of tables. There we go. It's a nice big area. Smart of me to leave that there. There we go. Total Wars were really good, like Thrones of Britannia. I never played Rome 2, although I actually own it. I got it for free with a graphics card purchase, actually. But I loved Rome Total War 1 and Medieval 2. Shogun 2. I have zero interest in playing the Warhammer Total Wars, though. And then, I don't know. I think I've just kind of grown out of Total War because whenever I try to go back to that franchise, I just get bored. Like, I loved Rome 1 when it was new, which was a long time ago. But there's something about the modern Rome Total Wars modern Total Wars that just doesn't do it for me anymore. Maybe I've just played too many of them. Investments are open if you want to invest your tickets, chat. All Paradox games are fun in the beginning, but they start to bog down mid-game for you, mainly because of the artificial and anti-blobbing system they have. Feels a bit too heavy-handed. Yeah, I don't even know how any of those systems work, so. To check. My jewelry output. Why are you so slow? This old guy is off the game. You have a good time gaming. Cheers, dude. Thanks for hanging out. But yeah, I hope that people are happy with CK3 by the end of it. I mean, like, people seem pretty happy with CK3 right now, to be honest. I haven't seen anybody get, like, upset with its development, which I think is good. It's nice. I was really happy to see that game come out and people be happy with it right away. Especially, like, after Rome. Like, people just seemed super down on it. And, like, even if it's a game or franchise or studio that I'm, like, not fond of or don't play the games for, it's like I want other people to be happy with the games that they buy, you know? I don't want people to be upset with their purchases, so. New DLC for CK3 is pretty bad. I've heard people just say it's too expensive, which I think is kind of amazing, but also kind of sad. Like, hold on. What are people even saying about it right now? Crusader Kings 3. Yeah. The Royal Court, right? Like, just as an example, Royal Court for CK3 is almost $40 Canadian. That's an expansive, like that's not a DLC. That's like a full-blown expansion pack price. Also, how's your Nick? I think is how you say that. I'm probably butchering that, but hello, welcome to the stream. How are you? Always nice to see new faces around. Or people speaking for the first time. Yeah, I don't know. Took a long time to develop. It's expensive, I think. They focused on the wrong things. Yeah, I don't even know what they did with it. I mean, when did it come out? When did the game originally come out, rather? Crusader Kings. September 2020. Yeah, I guess it's been 2 years. Shit. I guess I didn't realize Crusader Kings 3 had been out that long. Well, it's been a year and a half, I guess. Yeah. You remember how hard it was to siege cities and castles in Medieval 2? The Warhammer 1s are just too darn easy. The thing about Warhammer for me is like, for me, Total War is at its best when it's all about positioning. The second you add in activatable abilities, it stops feeling like Total War to me, and it starts to feel like a different game, which doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's a different kind of game. And I find that kind of game to be less fun. I mean, I played Total Warhammer, or Warhammer Total War, the first one, and I didn't like it. And I also didn't really like Three Kingdoms, which also had that to a degree. It had that lesser so, because it was more of like a more believable fantasy-ish thing. But again, just like that style of mechanic wasn't one that I personally find to be fun in that style of game. I realize a lot of people do because they're very successful, but it's not one that I find to be particularly interesting for myself. So kind of just perpetually torn when it comes to the Warhammer Total War games because they are very successful and it's kind of the direction that series is going. But it's like I want. Like, for me to play a Total War game again and to get back into Total War, I would need them to make a much deeper overworld simulation. Actually, on the topic of realistic violence in video games, a sequel that I'm kind of curious about, I don't know if I'll end up playing it, but I'm kind of curious about it, is the, why am I completely blanking on it? Hold on. Just let me find this real quick. What is the name of that franchise? Brr. That new Sega published thingy. Well, not new, but it's not out yet. Upcoming releases. Why is it not even listed? I know Sega's publishing it. It's the, man. RTS franchise, you have tanks and small groups of people. Why am I blanking on this? My brain keeps saying heroes and generals, but I know that's wrong. Not Advanced Wars, no. Real-time strategy, RTS. Published by Sega, not Command and Conquer. I'm like literally like searching on Steam now, trying to remind myself what this fucking franchise of video games is called. Hold on. My library, because I own the earlier games. Nope, not Total War. I would say Total War if I was thinking Total War. Company of Heroes, that's it. Company of Heroes 3. Company of Heroes 3 is going to have a Total War style of overworld. This. All you can do is shout out random RTS titles. Well, Command & Conquer is EA games. But for whatever that's worth. But yeah, no, this is going to have a overworld, like a campaign map, which is real neat, in my opinion. Being able to play a Company of Heroes game with that. And also, another thing that Company of Heroes 3 is getting is a, for single player, not for multiplayer, but for single player, it's getting an active pause, where you'll be able to pause the game. Because one of the things that always, like, breaks my brain with Company of Heroes is, like, how moment-to-moment action is so fucking important in that game. Like, it's almost... It is one of those games that's, like, quite literally impossible for me to play because, like, the previous games in that series, because of how demanding the moment-to-moment combat in it is. So I don't know. I'm curious to see how that turns out. I mean, it might end up, like, not being a game for me at all, but I think that there is a possibility it could be really cool. Curious. It's interesting that smithies don't actually emit any noise. I figured that they'd be a noisy industry. It's like, you'd think that, like, the smelting of metal would be noisy, whereas, like, bakery? Loud as fuck. Bakeries are super goddamn loud. Whereas smithies, real quiet. Don't understand. No babies. How many babies? What this one? That's interesting. Oh, I see. It's just children right now. That makes more sense. I was like, why is there no babies in the nursery? It's like, oh, because the fucking nursery is just filled with adults. And children. That makes more sense. Okay. Very confused for a second there. Yeah, I actually, like, underestimate how much I know about who published what, Oskatev. It's actually a problem that I have where I just kind of assume that everybody has, like, the same level of insanity of staring at, like, who publishes what studio's doing what, and who does this, and how big studios are, and what's indie and what's not actually indie, even though, like, they might act like indie or look like indie. It's like, I have a really hard time calling Valheim an indie game because of who their parent company is and who their publisher is and who their publisher is owned by. Same as Satisfactory. It's like, I have such a hard time calling Satisfactory an indie game, and people look at me like I'm crazy, and they're like, it's absolutely an indie game. It's like, yeah, but they're owned by one of the biggest their parent company is one of the biggest corporations, like, in games right now. It's like, fucking Embracer Group is one of the, like, biggest, we're buying everything in the games industry. Like, they are like another Microsoft at this point in size in the industry. People just don't realize it because they're quiet about it. Just like Tencent is walking around buying everything right now. It's like, well, it's because they are just quiet about it. Something that I think is kind of interesting, though, is there are so many people buying so many things in the games industry right now, to the point where, like, even Nintendo had to, like, voice why they are not buying things right now. Like, Nintendo makes acquisitions. They're just a lot more quiet. The rest of the industry seems to be. Still don't know where Embracer got all of their money. Hedge funds. They started off getting a whole bunch of funding from a Swedish investment fund, and they purchased a bunch of well, decent-sized publishers, libraries that were going under, THQ primarily, or rather, they purchased Nordic, and then, which was a decent-sized publisher, and then took the money that they made from purchasing Nordic, and then took all of their money after purchasing Nordic and basically became THQ again, and then used that to propel themselves into just snowballing and buying everything. I mean, one of my favorite, like, things about all of the games acquisitions now is just, like, well, you know what other, not company, but country is going around and investing in the games industry a lot? Is Saudi Arabia. Actually kind of scary how much investment is going into games. It's like SNK, well, Saudi princes. Fighting games in general are just slowly being bought out by oil money. As I place some wells down. Yeah, they bought a $1 billion, like, I'm just looking this up because, like, one just happened. On February 4th, Saudi Arabia has bought $1 million chunk of Capcom. Like, they own a huge chunk of Nexon as well. But is the second scariest money on the planet? Can we just say that money is scary? Audio? Like the concept of... Also, did I miss you going to the arcade and back? I must have. I hope you had a good trip at the arcade. Everyone is trying to set up their own Silicon Valley? Earth is Silicon Valley at this point. Oh, you didn't go yet? Okay. Got lazy. Apparently. Just checking something because I got a bunch of notifications all at once and I'm trying to figure out why. Or rather, I know why, but I'm just responding to why. Have I seen the McLaren F1 reveal? I don't pay attention to too much of the off-season stuff, so no, I haven't. Robin. But hi. How are you, Robin? I know that, whatchamacallit? Brain fart. I know that, the green car is now pink. The Aston Martin is now pink, and I'm very happy about that. that's the one thing that I have seen about the off-season stuff in F1 is that or no, not Aston Martin, the Alpine. I'm just double checking. Alpine is now pink, which is even better. Alpine is now pink, or Alpine, but. But yes, I haven't been paying much attention to the off-season stuff. I'll just marathon a whole bunch of reveal stuff after it's all done. I feel like F1 hasn't, like, actually, like, F1 is such a weird sport because they're like, oh yeah, season's over. It's like, no, it isn't. What are you talking about? Season for F1 never ends. F1 just keeps going perpetually at this point. Bathtubs next to graveyard? That's fine, right? I don't want to care about that, right? It won't mind, right? You know what? Let's actually do this. Bathhouse. We're going to put a bathhouse underground. I was trying to decide, like, what I should sneak under here. It's like, yeah, let's do a bathhouse. Yeah, testing is around where I start paying attention again. Once we start to see people complaining about who's cheating or who's allegedly cheating or confirming of rules, once that starts happening, then I start paying attention again. Once people start calling each other cheaters, that's where I start paying attention again. When there's drama, I pay attention to F1. There isn't drama. Doesn't matter so much at that point. Red Bull showed their FIA prototype. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not paying much attention to F1 at this point in the season. Now we're just like boring chat to death with F1 talk. This is going to be the biggest bathhouse we've built yet. All right, well, we've got good relaxation percentage. Get that building. But yeah, I think it's safe to say, Robin, that cars aren't finished yet. Also, chat, since we haven't done this in a while, we haven't had a reason in a while, can I get a round of beers? Just curious about how many people are listening to this stream currently. Been kind of a quiet Saturday, so a lot of people have decided to probably watch Lost Ark and not Blind IRL today, so if you're lurking, just type in the word beer and let's see how many beers we can get. They're starving? Oh, we're starving infants again. Excellent. Also, hey, wave depletion. Chat, I will be back in a sec. I'm just going to quickly go use the restroom. Also, I'm back. Hey, Pink Fluffy. How's things? Game saving. Nice to see that there's actually, like, space in some of this house. Feeling a bit depressed, DBH? I feel that. It's been a kind of a rough month for me, mentally. I feel that. It's times go up, times go down. Brain gets happy, brain gets pissed. F1 seems a bit indecisive to you. They always say either you guys get everyone in the same car and let the drivers compete, or let the engineers lose and see how crazy it can get. Safety is important, of course, but the regulations seem a bit too restrictive. I completely agree to a degree, but also I think for me it's less of an issue of let the engineers use, and it's more of how much should the sport just be about who can spend the most money? I'm not a big fan of that. I do quite enjoy like the racing itself though, and I think like the sport is very much entertaining viewing. I don't think that's an issue. It's more of a it's a weird sport. I don't know. Some seasons are better than others. This past season was quite good, but there's definitely elements of accuracy to that statement. For sure. But do you know what's got you down, Pink? Or is it just like the weather, or is it just the time of year? I'm just starting to think that I've lived alone for too long. Which sucks, because I really, 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 really do not want roommates. But at the same time, I think I've lived alone too long. Bastet! Subscribing at tier 1. Welcome back. For 28th month. Jack, can I get a round of beers for Bastet? Helping keep this weird show funded. F1 is a dick measuring contest for rich people who are willing to waste the most money, and it's not about publicity. There's no way they're getting their money's worth, but maybe some research, but mostly it's just able to say I'm sponsoring F1. Yes, you are very much correct. It is absolutely a dick measuring contest, but dick measuring contests can be entertaining if you're into it, right? And F1 can be very entertaining when the dick measuring contest is working. Yeah, no, it's nice to see that, Bastet. And thank you. It just hit you today. You don't know if it's because you started feeling ill over the last few days? I know there's been times where it's like I've felt like I've been getting depressed, Pink, and then I realize, oh, I'm not depressed. I'm just like getting a cold. I've definitely like had that happen where like I'll my brain will be like, you're depressed, and I'll feel all sad and not happy, and then realize, oh, it's like I have a sniffle. I just need to like eat an orange and get some vitamins. It's very much a thing, like feeling like you're depressed, but in all honesty, you just need to take a nap and take care of yourself. Health is definitely something that I neglected myself from time to time. Let's do that. Which is actually like something I really dislike about games culture is the, oh, you know, you have to, and this is like what pushed me away from competitive games a lot, is the notion of, oh, in order to be good at this, you have to spend X number of hours a day, and if you're not like air quotes no-lifing the game, like what are you even doing? It's like, hey, let's just like glorify and brag about taking very little care of ourselves. That's not a positive thing at all. We shouldn't be doing that. Hey, Pablo Rasta, how's you? Happy Saturday. It's been a quiet Saturday for me. Mental health is weird. That is fucking true. And it makes no sense to people outside of the person who's having the bad day. Often. Chillin', good to hear. Being even a little bit ill messes with you so much for some reason. You get a bit of a stuffy nose and you're too hazy to drive a car, for example. Really? Wow. I mean, I don't know. I can't drive a car with like, well, ever. So, but that's interesting. And crank up the number of employees in these libraries. This is all just going to be a massive housing block. Also, I'm noticing that we have plenty of stone currently, so I'm going to jump up here and make another one of these biggins. One of these big, thick boys right here. Question is, where do I put it? I'm running out of space. I can probably make 2. Can you have a tour of the place? Well, I mean, I can do an overview. This bottom area is mostly our baking industry down here. So baking down here. This is like farming, primarily livestock. Underground housing and military training. This central area up here is probably like downtown, if I had to select one. This is where the most valuable industry is. This is our metalworking industry. We kind of have like a more scattered slum-like area. We have our temples in the center. We have our large city center, which is this kind of area. These are kind of like our main entertainment hub district area, which is why we have the arena right there. The 2 temples, making elves. This is all like clothing and cloth industry. Our tombs, underground housing, more training. Our coal mining industry is right here, which is one of our bigger workloads. This is where we're making humans. This is where we're making more humans. Once again, this is kind of the bread industry, which is very profitable for us, like exceptionally profitable. I'm trying to get a jewelry industry. I don't have any gems on this map, but we do have a considerable amount that we are getting from taxes. We're taxing people for gems, which is good. Actually, going to put a little bit more. I can't quite afford the sanitation. Come on. I need to be able to put more points into sanitation. Need more quills. So, how are the raids going? We haven't actually done any fighting today. I'm not currently sieging anybody. I'm just trying to get my population up to the maximum. Currently not actively raiding anybody. We do have to deal with like the bandit raids every so often, and the last one I just paid them off. But I mean, the last time we got into a fight, I lost about 1,000 soldiers, and it's like, that's a pretty big hit on your population when you're trying to grow to the 12,000 cap. So, currently not at war with anybody or fighting anybody. Just working on trying to get that population up. For reals, yeah. We're going to build another school/library building. So these two just fit together real nicely like this. Problem is I just do not have enough idle builders, which I can get pretty quickly by going over to this coal mine and being like, yeah, 200 people, go do odd jobs. So we can get all this stuff constructed. We're building 2 more huge housing blocks and then another library and a school. And then once we get that school built, I already have 1 university, which is this building. I could perhaps make a second one. But yeah, I hope that you've had a good Saturday so far, Pablo Rasta. Asked this earlier, but chat, what games have you guys been playing recently? What games have been entertaining you as of late? Because I'm looking forward to diving back into some Odd Realm next week. That's something that I'm planning on doing. Cave Story, really? Replaying it or for the first time? I played the Flash version of that. I think it ran in Flash. I know it ran in a browser. Assuming it was Flash. Off stream, I've been playing the First Trials game. So fucking fun. God damn, that game is good. One of my favorite things in City Builders is when people walk on grass and it becomes dirt. It becomes a natural pathway. It's one of my favorite things. Howdy, Patchwork. How's things? Factorio slightly burnt out. Picked up Star Ruler? What's Star Ruler? Do I know about Star Ruler? I feel like that's familiar. Hold on, let me see if I write this game. Star Ruler. Oh, these games. Okay. Yeah, I'm familiar with this. One of those real-time 4X space games. Got a quiche. Quite jealous of that, sir. It's not a quiche, but there's a dish that I make sometimes, which I think I no, I don't have everything I need. I have almost everything I need. It can be made with either squash or pumpkin, canned or fresh, pureed. You make a quiche, but you use half of the amount of egg that you would normally use, and you replace it with either pumpkin or squash puree, and it's delicious. Like, oh my word, it's fucking good. It's like a healthier kind of alternative to quiche. You could use acorn or butternut. Butternut would probably be... I used acorn puree because that's what I had the last time I made it, but which was probably last year, I think, last time I made it. But acorn or butternut, either would work. Just waiting on more paper. They're significantly happier after being allowed to equip Let's see, if I just let them equip the maximum possible clothing. Yeah, that does help. Interesting. Look at the clothing amount that I have just crashing down to low. All right, well, I just learned a way to keep elves happier. Prioritize clothing for elves. Because they really want to look fancy, apparently. Huh. All right. Interesting. And I don't have enough jewelry to let them all have jewelry, but... Look at that spike in happiness. I wonder if that's like once you get a larger population or not. I remember somebody complaining about this game saying that it actually gives you too much information to the point where like it's hard to figure out what any of it means. But man, when you figure it out... Some people like harmony in nature, and certain buildings emit harmony, such as trees. All right, so we have to increase harmony to keep them happy. Well, that's going to go a long way to preventing people getting mad at me, which is good. Interesting that increasing infrastructure lowers health. All right, I'm gonna go back to selling jewelry though. It's so much more profitable than... So much more profitable than selling tools. But yes, I'm jealous of your quiche, Patrick. The thing that stops me from making quiches and stuff like that is I hate making the crusts. I'm super bad at it. So that's kind of what keeps me from making quiche. It's just the crusts are just too much of a pain. It's funny because like I will labor for hours to do other things when it comes in cooking, but like when it comes to making a crust, nah, not worth. Not gonna take that time. This is kind of interesting. To any dwarfy people in chat, interesting post in the subreddit. Someone has a effort on GitHub to expand the Dwarven dictionary, which is Tekud. Never made quiche, so you wanna up me? You have to bow to your superior cooking skills. Yeah, I was wondering what Tekkit was modding, but he's trying. Because I know that he was doing some modding stuff. I just think it's interesting that that's what he's working on. Fascinating. Good luck to him. Yeah, well. It's not really possible. or rather, it's an admirable thing to do, because those kinds of projects in Dwarf Fortress don't generally get off the ground. So curious to see if he's able to pull it off. I would love to see it work out, because like expanding the Dwarven dictionary is something that I wish Tarn would do. So it just, if it's a fan project, it just needs some tender loving care. And you know, also I know that dislikes are hidden on YouTube, so you guys can't see them, but makes me kind of sad. The VODs of the Veil that I've been putting up on YouTube have been getting a lot of dislikes. Almost entirely dislikes. They're like, they get a couple likes, but a lot of people are just like not super thrilled with me putting up videos on YouTube with no graphics. But you know, it's an audiobook. Yeah, no, absolutely. I guess it's just not a direction some people on the YouTube channel want me to go. I don't know. We'll see. Though the streams for it have been kind of hard to do too. It's not an easy game to stream, I'll put it that way. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not like going to stop doing it. For whatever it's worth, like the game's only about halfway done audio. I probably won't. I was kind of thinking about doing some today, but today's too slow. I want to finish it over the next week. Considering the stories like just started getting interesting with the other characters. But... bunch more immigrants. Up to 4,200 people. 3,700 of them are happy. Equipment. Well, so elves are now happy with their equipment. What do they want for services? They want more drinking services. Interesting. They want more taverns. Build a big tavern right here. In fact, let's build a non-rectangle tavern. Or a rounder tavern. There we go. That'll do. Just get rid of the bits where the sun's peeking through. They're doing this. I guess you just have to see where it goes. Oh, no, absolutely. I absolutely have to see where it goes when it comes to the Veil. Veil is, I don't know, it's a very intriguing little game. I've been enjoying it, so I will continue and play it through to the end. The thing, like I've said many, many times, the thing that gives me the most joy in this job is being able to show you guys games that you either wouldn't play or wouldn't have heard of without me. That is my favorite part of this job, is being able to do that, because I think that that is really cool, and not a lot of people get to do that. Not a lot of people really get to have much of an impact on niche media like that, and I think that that's a really cool thing that I get to do with my job, and I think that not enough streamers kind of focus on that sort of stuff. Not enough creators focus heavily enough on giving interesting projects that wouldn't or easily organically get it more exposure. I wish that there was more focus on that from other creators, but making it out of wood. You really appreciate my streams? They're always good when you tune in. Thank you. It's a lot. And I'm bad at taking compliments, so thank you. And then this is going to be another one of these. But, you know, just like anything, I really like my streams and I like the games that I get to stream. I wish that there was I hope that with things like the release of the premium versions of DF, that audience can grow. And growing that audience is difficult. You know, it's how does one grow in any industry is usually every industry's biggest question mark, right? And that has definitely been true for me, especially kind of as of late. It's like, how do I do what I'm doing, but scale up what I'm doing without scaling down? And, you know, every industry is going to have some ups and downs. And recently it's been a bit more downs than ups, I think, at least from my current perspective. So I'm just very hopeful about the future and just trying to do my best. How big can I make this? Let's just do this. The edge. Tavern is getting dones. The thing that I've just found really tough recently is just like, I guess I'm just gonna need to learn to deal with everything wanting me to interact with NFTs. Because like it's been a very large source of stress for me recently because I really dislike the commodification of everything. Which really is just what NFTs kind of boil down to at the end. And Web3 boils down to at the end is just like, I need to make money, right? I don't like capitalism, but I need to make money. And things like the YouTube short that YouTube put out recently talking about how like, yeah, we're focusing on NFTs and Web3 and Metaverse. And I'm just like, stab me in the fucking eyeballs. You have a good night, Best Ed. I don't know if I'll still be on when you wake up or when you get back from D&D, but thank you very much for the resub. We'll see you on the flip side, at the very least. Yeah, I mean, it's just like concert tickets that I'm buying now are like, collect NFT stubs for your concert tickets to prove to people that you went to the show. I'm like, can't I just take a photo? Like, why do I need, like, digital proof that I went to a concert? What? Especially when, like, the way I buy tickets mostly is, like, I'll buy a ticket for myself and my friend. So I'm going to end up with doubles. Or my friend's going to end up with 2 for a concert that we both went to. And it's like, well, great. You want to shoot the screens every time you come across one? Bring a BB gun. Pop at it. Look at all these unique entries into your dev database too. Wait, what? Oh, I understand. I don't know. It's just it's a frustrating world that we live in. Need to. Unfortunately, nonstop exponential growth is unstable in most industries, including the tech industry, and a lot of tech industry people refuse to believe that and agree with that, and that's frustrating to see. It's a very expensive glorified database. Well, it's just like whenever I see people say, like, trying to support, like, NFTs in games, because every now and again I run into a person who tries to, right? It's like, you just kind of got to remember, it's like, you know, the most accurate one-to-one representation of an attempt to have a marketplace in a game almost killed the franchise, and that's called Diablo. Remember when Diablo launched with a real money auction house for items and everybody hated it? All right, what if every single video game had that for everything in the video game? What if every video game had that? Not what you want? Apparently some people do, and that boggles my mind. Or they think they do, at least. Whether or not they actually do is a pretty good question. But you have a good night, Spooky. Chat investments are open. Heads up. You want to invest your tickets. NFT X, you can do X without NFTs? Well, I mean, like, fucking Valve's weapon skins are literally functionally the equivalent to NFTs. Just putting trees everywhere. Well, you know, it does. The sad part is like, it doesn't matter if you have fantastic examples of reasons why you don't need NFTs. Just calling it NFTs increases the stock price for it. And it's like, that's what they're after. There are a lot of these companies that are using it because it's the hot fucking sexy buzzword. Not because it's like practical, useful, helpful, or something that any of us actually need or want. Just trying to like make those people happier. Putting trees everywhere is my current strat, and it seems to be helping. Does seem to be helping. Not very popular, is that pub? Oh, there's somebody. It's like when devs were building apps on the blockchain, using it as a database or running code on the blockchain. It's just as expensive and pointless. It's just expensive and pointless, and everyone realized it after a while. Yeah, well, I mean, it's the reason that, like, you know, NFTs have existed since 2017. A lot of people seem to think that, like, NFTs, like, came into existence last year. It's like, no, they became popular last year. And it's like NFTs have been around for a bit now. And there's a reason that they've been around for a bit, and the only thing that we really have are expensive collectibles. It's because, like, the only real practical, like, it's the only real use people have come up with, right? Like, here, I'm gonna link a YouTube short that I posted in the sub-only section of my Discord. There's a link. It's a minute long. But that's been my source of stress and depression the past, like, month, is seeing every single company slowly, like, every single company that pays my bills slowly joining them. And jumping onto that dumb fucking bandwagon. All right, Elven loyalty keeps going up slowly, bit by bit. They're happier with the environment. Services have gotten a little bit greener. Their equipment happiness has gotten a lot better, although we apparently aren't making enough clothing. Even though we're importing quite a bit of it. Let's import even more clothing. Got a ton inbound, but every time it arrives, they immediately, like, take all of the clothing and then leave. Clothing arrives and then immediately gets removed. It's like, once again, arrives and all of it is taken away. No, I just have too many elves, and I have been completely ignoring clothing in this game for a very long time. So it's kind of my own doing, really. They're probably all running around half naked. Well, like I was saying earlier, I don't think any of them are naked, but it's like the difference between wearing, like, pants, shoes, socks, and mittens and a hat, or wearing a potato sack. Goblin, or like the orcs don't really care about wearing potato sacks. The elves sure do. Elves are weird in this. Like, they prefer to eat meat. They're really good ranchers, but they also like the protection of trees, and they also like fancy clothing and fancy things. They also don't like stone houses. They like wooden houses, but they don't like square houses. They like circular houses. So the elves in this are fun. What? Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? Subvert expectations. Not every game needs exactly the same fantasy characters. That's boring. I think that's good the way they're doing it, actually. Totally put a tree in front of that one. That's fine. But, you know, complicated needs and wants for different faction crews in this game is part of what makes it fun. I guess your expectations of elves are built around very Tolkien design. It makes sense of other creators have it makes sense other creators have ideas. Well, I mean, they're fantasy creatures, right? You can literally do whatever you want with them. I mean, they're also not called elves in this, right? They're called Telepi or Telepi or Telepi, Tilapia. I don't know what they're called, but they're not called elves, right? They're called Tilapi. You can pronounce that as you desire. So, you know, they're not even called elves, but that's basically what they are. They're the elf analog, or the elf equivalent, I suppose. But I think that everything just being a clone of Tolkien is boring as all hell, so I get real happy when I play games like Dwarf Fortress as an example, or this, which is just like, well, you know, it's like, of course there's like a Tolkien base to it, but it's kind of hard to be a fantasy story or world without kind of having like some base inspirations in Tolkien. But it's nice to see people do it differently. Because, you know, fantasy tropes are just based in human racism. And it's just a way of, like, making those differences between us more obvious. And I think that having some new ideas on that, or just even doing it differently, even if it's the same ideas, is always going to be welcome in my mind. All right, let's fill this up with knickknacks. So we're building more housing down here. These are separate apartments, and then knickknacks are like tables and chairs, basically places for people to sit, put their stuff, eat food, all that. Hey, Space Pirate. Welcome to the stream. Hello. Always nice to see new faces around the channel. Let's do all this. Chat's a little quiet today, but generally people are quite friendly. I say generally because usually I'm the one who's not friendly. Let's do that. Yeah. Didn't need it. Okay, perfect. Let's do doors. Door. Door. And boom. More housing. You watch the DF VODs on YouTube? Gotcha. Yeah, I people have different names in different places, so. But it's nice that the YouTube channel has been growing its own community in a way. I don't know, to me YouTube like isn't real. If that makes any sense. Like Twitch I can quantify and like it makes sense to me. that there are people that watch my Twitch stream because I talk to them almost every day, right? YouTube channel, it's hard for me to keep that in a space of reality in my head because YouTube is so like I don't talk to people on YouTube every day. I read comments and whatnot, but outside of that, it's like I'm not actively speaking with people every day. I can't type. It seems it's the way it is sometimes. I've been forgetting individual words and sentences when I've been typing recently. Like, I'll write a paragraph and I'll forget, like, one word, like, stating what that paragraph was about. And everybody will just kind of, like, read it and be like, Blind, what do you mean? And I'll be like, oh, I forgot, like, the most important word in this paragraph. I don't know why I've been doing that recently. It makes me feel real dumb. Been doing it a lot recently. Maybe I should try and stop up it. But I'm very glad that you watched the VODs. You have no clue who even watches your channel? Me, sometimes. I pop up your channel occasionally and listen to you natter away about things while doing Dorfy things. Today's just been very quiet though, Space Pirates, so it's nice to have people tune into the stream. Started an hour late today, and I think a lot of people on Twitch are not currently watching weird indie games, which is kind of my market. They're watching Lost Ark, largely. Like, there are 43 channels that I follow right now on Twitch that are live, and I'm just going to read the games that they're streaming. Lost Ark, Lost Ark, Lost Ark, Lost Ark, Lost Ark, Freedom Planet, Lost Ark, Lost Ark, Vampire Survivors, Bloodborne, Lost Ark, Vampire Survivors, Project Zomboid, Lost Ark, Science and Technology, Dying Light 2, well, that's a weird one, Xenoblade Chronicles, hi Sarah, RimWorld, Total War, Lost Ark, Lost Ark, Lost Ark, talk shows and podcasts, Project Zomboid, Minecraft, Lost Ark, Binding of Isaac, World of Warcraft, Tron? What? 7 Days to Die, Cities Skylines, Star Citizen, League of Legends, Lost Ark, Lost Ark, Lost Ark, Mountain Blade, Total War Warhammer, War Fortress. Just at the bottom. It's like there's a lot of people playing that right now. Makes doing the weird indie stuff a little tougher. But we still here. You know, I would think it's pretty safe to say though that arc has been found and is no longer lost based on its popularity. You probably that you understand the context and you just don't remember to include the overall context to write in detail and you want to share. Yeah, basically. Yeah, no, it's like, I mean, I was commenting on one of the reviews in one of the games in my teammate's curator on Steam, right? I was commenting on it. And so I wrote like a paragraph about it, but I forgot to mention which game I was talking about. Like shit like that. Like how do I manage to forget that? Oh shit, King Under the Mountain just patched. They added. There's no patch notes, god damn it. Oh, nope, there is a patch notes. Bunch of patches today, actually. Go check in on that. Twitch is blocked at your work? Oh, I getcha. So you binge the VODs when you're trying to get caught up with Long Death? Okay. It's the first time you've ever been on Twitch? Well, welcome to Twitch. Twitch is a weird place. But Twitch has been, like, YouTube's you probably are aware of this, but YouTube has been a side thing for me, primarily, for most of my time on YouTube. Whereas Twitch is my income. Like, Twitch is my full-time job, basically. YouTube is, like, the happy bonus that I figured out a method of, like, managing to also do. Maybe the arc is lost and they're just on. Fair enough, yeah. For YouTube, it feels left out. I mean, at the end of the day, I'll say this. I make about, with my YouTube channel where it's at right now, I make about $150 Canadian-ish a month in ad revenue. And that's about it. Twitch pays my rent, my food, my everything. The Patreon helps quite a bit, but the Patreon is about half of my rent right now. A little over half of my rent right now. Whereas Twitch is the rest of it. So, I mean, obviously it's like it's a combination of things that allows me to do this job, but the YouTube channel is not something I'd be able to focus on sustainably at all. Whereas at least with Twitch, I can do it sustainably. More or less. I can build another woodcutter here. Can I, whoops, make you the smallest possible option? Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, my biggest regret about my early days creating content, Space Pirate, is that I didn't archive my stuff on YouTube better. I always mention this, but there's a tweet that I put out in, I think it was about 2018, where I just said, I'm going to start taking YouTube seriously. It might have even been like the beginning of 2019, but there's a point where I'm just like, I put out a tweet where I'm just, I think it was 2018, where I just stated, like, I'm going to start taking YouTube seriously. And I'm going to do a better job archiving my stuff. Because there's nothing that irks me more than, like, there's like 8 years of work that I did that has largely zero archive. Like there's some stuff from the early days that I have that are archived, but the far and away vast majority of it is not. And I think that that's kind of a horrible waste. Okay, so food supplies are dropping. It's time to make more farms. Considering I have a lot of people who are currently not doing any work. It's a thing that we can do. Expand my farms. You know what? Let me make some import depots up here. We're going to import some interesting foodstuffs. Knowing how much you paid for advertising on a recent project, Alphabet must be taking a huge cut of the ads that get displayed on your videos. I mean, I don't even know. I assume, I don't actually know what the ad split rate is. But I get about 2 to $3 depending on the week per 1,000 views. Sometimes way lower. Or like examples like the Veil VODs that I've been putting up. The second two are both demonetized because I'm getting epidemic sounds claims on the musics. Apparently the music is licensed and not unique. Which is like, well, nothing I can do about that. Those VODs are going to make me null, but it's fine. I mean, it doesn't take a huge... Because realistically, I'm kind of a lazy YouTuber. Like, don't take that the wrong way, but like, the way I put stuff up on YouTube is very basic. Let's import egg. Let's import mushrooms. Let's import... What are we missing? More mushrooms. Let's grab another eatery. Plop them up there. Another storage room. I mean, it just kind of is what it is. I mean, those VODs weren't going to make me a ton of money regardless. I mean, a couple hundred views is like pennies. It's like 50 cents. That's fine. But still kind of sucks. Not a huge deal, but kind of sucks. You've only ever seen my Dwarf Fortress stuff, so you're unfamiliar with Songs of Six? It looks slightly similar to Dwarf Fortress. This is not very similar to Dwarf Fortress. This game is kind of a hybrid of the city build. It's like somebody... Okay. This game is somebody was a really big fan of Pharaoh, like, or the Impressions city builders, and also a really big fan of the ideas behind Total War, because this game is kind of a mashup between Total War and Pharaoh, as well as some overworld stuff. It's got almost nothing in common with Dwarf Fortress. It's much more of a city builder. It does have some world simulation stuff, and kind of a lot of depth, but it's a very different kind of depth than what Dwarf Fortress has. I guess these two will be eggs then. Because I don't have lizards, so I have no way of getting egg. So we need to find buyers now. But if you're interested in trying this game, it has a demo which is the full game. This is just kind of what I tell people whenever they show interest in this game. Is like, if you're interested in trying it, the demo is the full game. It's just because the game is in early access, the demo is a bunch of versions behind. So it's about 6 months to a year of an older version than the current version. So if you're interested in trying the game, it is kind of almost free in a way to try. But if you want updates, you have to pay, basically. You just had a meaningful thought and it's completely done before you could type it? No, how much? Oh, yeah, right. How much you paid for advertising and recent project. Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's kind of... Being in the content creation industry is all about balancing your time, right? And... time is money, but hard work... Like, I guess the difference between working in content creation and working in a traditional industry is when you work for yourself to this degree, time is money, but time spent on project does not necessarily equal money for that, right? And you can put a ton of work into something and get almost no return on it. And that happens actually kind of frequently. But then occasionally you'll put almost no effort into something and get a ton of return for kind of no reason. And it's like, well, it's weird. You know, like a lot of the projects that I've put the most effort into, I get the littlest returns from. That's just kind of the way it's always been. It's always been that way. It's fine, but it's stressful sometimes. You stretched and kinked your neck in a bad way. Oh God, no. That was me all day yesterday. All day yesterday, like walking was painful because I slept funny and my neck just decided to not neck properly after that. Those fish? What is that? I know that, I guess it's like maybe wheels of paper. I'm not sure what those are supposed to be. Because this is a library. Or a school, rather. But then, what is that? I don't even know. Apparently we're missing paper. Got tons of paper. It'd be fine. So a lot of these I don't need. I do, however, need these. Don't need that. Do, however, need that. It's your cue to not be at the computer for a bit. No, I understand that. Phil, you have a good one. Audio, cheers. But yeah, no, this is a game that I recommend to people who just, if you're a fan of city builders and you want a city builder in a style that they don't really make anymore, this is a interesting one. It's certainly not perfect. It's got its own problems, but it's a bloody interesting one. Oh, shopkeeper, I wonder where you're headed. Great caravan. Where he heads off to. Guess buying coal. This one's selling livestock, but nobody wants to buy them. That one is selling furniture. They're also selling coal. And then you're selling jewelry. Again, nobody's buying. But I only have one for sale right now, so. So out of curiosity, Space Pirate, if you're watching Long Death, how far through are you? Because I don't actually know that many people who have made it to the end of Long Death. One of the most interesting watchers of Long Death that I've encountered, though, is somebody who downloads them and brings the VODs with them. Man, them human sacrifices, they whack. We're sacrificing children. This is lovely. Must be a lot of data. What, downloading them? I guess it depends on like what quality level you download them at. Child sacrifice? Yep. Sacrificing a 6-year-old. I mean, the gods must be made happy. The canteen's real popular. We should make another one of these. Or I can cram you in. Cram you in there. Let's do that. So eggs are something that we have. Mushrooms are inbound. Let's make more fisheries. Because that's something that I do actually need. That's pretty efficient storage. For DF, you'd need reasonable quality to see what's going on. Assuming you want to see what's going on. But I know for a fact that a lot of people kind of refer to my style of streaming as almost more just like a solo podcast. Than what a lot of people would consider to be a stream, per se. You know? Like, a lot of people... don't need to build off of that. I need to copy it. Like, I know a lot of people have referred to my streams as such on occasions, so... Long Death is essentially just chatting. Like, Long Death specifically is very much a talk-heavy stream. Not a bad thing. It's just Long Death is.
This is madness.
Madness. Hi, Hobo. How are you? Happy Saturday. Been a quiet one. Hope you're doing well. I started late because I decided to get 7.5 hours of sleep instead of 6 because I went to bed kind of late. I went to bed kind of late because I went record shopping yesterday and then went to a couple breweries with a friend, which was good. It was the first time getting out in a couple of weeks outside of like the walks up the big mountain that I've done. What records did I get? A bunch of stuff you've never heard of. Well, not a bunch of stuff. Well, that's not true. There's one that you probably heard of. I found a copy of Kraftwerk's Autobahn for $5, which I was pretty happy about. Very gnarly used copy, but sounds great. I picked up the drummer of Moonduo's side project, who ended up being the roommate of the guy working at the record store, which was funny, because he was just suddenly like, so he saw that I got the record, said it was a good pick, and then just started talking about the band hole I was mentioning. I'm like, well, you must be a fan. He's like, well, the drummer's my roommates. I'm like, oh, that's why. All right. So picked up that. Picked up Machine Learning Experiments, which is the side project of one of the two members of Boy Harsher. And then I picked up the one full album that the band Hashtaroid, H-A-S-H, Hashtaroid, has, which is, you know, good stoner rock stuff, that sort of thing. Let's copy these. Oop. I need more food. That is a lot of jobs that just made. 44 and 74. Like to see. But yes, Kraftwerk is good stuff. So that was fun to listen to last night. The Wood Merchant. fuck is that sound? Oh, this. Huh. It's like, what is that, like, drill sound? It's just a lot of people working on a building. Build 2 more Elfie squads. Build another one of these guys in a squad. So, yeah. Got home from the fair? Hell yeah. Had many Findelumons. Good stuff. Oh, and one success. The guy that I hang out with, who I go to shows with, who I was hanging out with yesterday, collects CDs. I collect records, right? Well, records and tapes and some CDs, but he collects CDs. I convinced him to purchase the first Justice CD, which is, you know, good fucking electronic music, right? And not the kind of music he normally listens to, so I'm quite proud that I've managed to convince him to expand his horizons a little bit. Hoping that this is going to increase foodstuffs. The Cross album. Yeah, that one. The one with Genesis on it. I don't know the name of the actual album, but I think it's just called Justice, isn't it? I think it's just a self-titled. Could be mistaken though. It's like the one on the cross, the one with the cross on it. It's just how everybody knows that album. It's actually called the Cross. Oh, is it called Cross? Okay. I don't know the name of that album. All right. Don't need the full-size one. Let's just do that. Today's just been like, piss off the elves, see what's pissing them off, unpiss them off, piss the elves off again, rinse and repeat, and rinse and repeat. Now I'm pissing off the humans, apparently. Literally just letting them join without me having to authorize them. Apparently pissed them off. I kind of don't like the little boys, little floaties that are in the fishing zones. I don't really like the way they look. It's like one of the only industries in this game I don't like the look of. They're just kind of ugly, I think. At least I think they're kind of ugly. I don't know. Not a bad little tavern. People sleeping on the floor. Pretty lively. Uh-oh. Don't quite have enough fruits for all them babies. All right, let's copy some fruit farms then. Look at this beautiful orchid. Smash our orchids, eh? Not a subreddit I'm part of. Houseplants, yes. That's pretty. That's really pretty. That is a pretty orchid. Can concur. Like that is a pretty plant. That works. Because we need more food storage currently. Kind of real bad. Or not food storage, but food, just in general. Because having food in your stockpiles is one of the biggest causes of happiness in this game. You need to convince your orchid to take inspiration from that and stop being unhappy in every way possible. Yeah, I don't have many flowering plants. I just have a peace lily. That's the only one that I have that flowers, and it's pretty happy. But my other plants are kind of unhappy with me. I have this fern that my mom gave me, which is very nice, but it has a tendency of just looking super sad, and so it's kind of like, come on, man, cheer up a bit. I know you don't get enough sun, but, like, not much more I can do about that. Be happy, plant. Thanks. Seriously. So now we just need to wait for them to plant the foods. Some plants can just be divas and drama queens. Yeah. Currently, one of my one of my spider plants is being a drama queen. It's just like all floop. It's kind of gone. Also, my like none of my plants have been getting enough sun, but unfortunately, there's like kind of nothing I can do about that right now. Because, you know, I don't control I don't control the weather. And I also don't control when the sun comes out. And sometimes the sun just decides to not be enough sun for my houseplants. They get upset. Theoretically, I should be getting lots of fish. But I'm not. Don't get it. Did you break fishing game? I should be getting a lot of fish. Suppose not. A few days ago, you realized you hadn't watered your spider plant, and it was looking kind of sad. Gave it some water, and it seems to have bounced back. Yeah, they seem to do that. The issue is just, like, lack of light, though. I have this, plant that's on, like, this, what is it called? Why am I blanking? Philodendron. That's up on top of my fridge. And it just kind of dangles down and looks pretty, but I clearly wasn't getting enough sun because, like, one day it just, like, all wilty, so I had to, like, take it down off the fridge and put it in front of my window a couple of days. It's fine in the summer, but the winter is just so dim in here. I wonder if that turning off the authorization will... Nope, that's doing the opposite. Enough murders happening right now that you guys are pissed. Just not enough clothing. Am I not importing enough clothing, or did I stop importing clothing? There's just not enough clothing to import. Spider plants can grow some big roots, which is cool. Yeah, the roots often like lift up and out of the lift up and out of the soil itself too. Spider plants are neat. Don't need slaves. Yeah, well, there is eggs incoming. Building kind of another trading hub here now. Not really something I was planning on doing, but you have a plant that you're proud of? And you should just take a selfie and be like, that's the plant that I'm proud of. But yeah, go stick it in the house pets section of my Discord. Because pets are definitely plants. They just don't complain as much. There we go. Happiness is improving because the amount of foods we have here is increasing. I think I'm going to build a second export depot. We're just going to sell tools. Sell uranium? I don't have uranium. It's hot stuff. It's explodey sometimes. Five more views. One of views. You are going to export tools. Certainly not all of them, but definitely more of them. Well, most of them. I'm gonna give the a bunch of tools to farms because I just realized I'm not using this mechanic correctly. That should help the humans and the elves quite a bit. Question is do we have any that are actually outbound? Oh, shit. I need to import pottery. I'm a big unsmart. It's like, why is that not getting done? Oh, because I need to import pottery. Duh. So I have no pottery industry currently, which is kind of a problem. Tentatively kind of a problem. Yeah, go nuts. Go ahead, post the link. Investments are open. Heads up, Chan. Oh shit, it's in an aquarium. God damn, that shit's cool. Aquatic plants are cool. I love it. I contemplated looking into getting an aquarium at one point, specifically so that I could have aquatic plants, but my landlord has a very strict no fish policy for this apartment, which I can respect. Why would the fish attack the roots? I mean, I guess you could buy a fish that would do that. Nobility is passed. Oh no! My lead stonemason is passed. That's sad. I think that 133. Oh geez, didn't realize that dwarves could live so long. This dwarf is 67. There you are. I think you're the master of farms. How long have you had that plant, if I can ask, Robin? Or that tank in general? It feeds off fish poop? That's awesome. Back when you had fish, I read that you needed to make sure that you had tougher water plants, otherwise the fish would try and eat the plants. Well, I mean, that's just like anything to do with fish. Like the thing with fish, right? You have to do a shit ton of research before you buy anything, because you have to make sure that absolutely everything is compatible. Otherwise, it all just falls apart. It's like there's a single kink in the system, it all just breaks. You've had the tank for a year and the plant 3 months or so? Oh, wow. Pretty short. Okay. Must have been pretty heavily grown when you bought it then. You know what? Fuck it. Let's sell weapons. It's ridiculous, actually, how cheap weapons are. Second win today? Fuck yeah, Pink. Also good win, Stone. Don't know if anybody else invested, but rip him. Like, this should be making quite a bit of jewelry, right? But it's just not. Also, apparently we've stopped getting gems from taxes. That's suboptimal. But chat, I think, just due to things being kind of quiet around here and me having a lot of editing on a podcast to do, I think I'm going to call it for the day. Nice short 6.5 hour stream. But before I run off, I just want to say, thanks everybody for hanging out today. Tomorrow we'll be doing more Long Death, probably. So, Stone, apologies, you'll be at dinner, but let's see if I can adjust this. Like, this monitor just, I must have bumped into it yesterday and not realized it. All right, better it slipped or something.